and saying that in reality, it has little impact on how he interacts with foreign leaders. And recent developments in the case, especially the criminal investigation and the raids of Trump attorney Michael Cohen, suggest to some that there may be a shift away from President Trump. Of course, people differ on that. Joining me now, Tammy, the president of Independent Women's Voice, and a Washington Times columnist, and a Fox News contributor. Tammy, good evening. Good to have you with us tonight.
Hey, Martha.
I also want to play a soundbite first from Susan Collins, who has been privy to a lot of this investigation. Listen very closely to what she said on the Sunday shows.
What's your sense of Michael Cohen's connection to this Russia probe?
That's a very difficult question to answer. There's been one interview with Michael Cohen. It has not been released to the public. I'm not at liberty to say what he said. But let me just say that I don't see him as being a central figure in this.
Interesting. Tammy, what did you make of that?
Well, I think she's right. She's trying to be very careful, but let's look at this. It's almost like inside baseball, I think, to some degree. But the left has realized they're not really going to be able to hurt the president. The fantasy narrative of Russia collusion is really obviously collapsed. And in this case now, you're looking at a subsidiary effort trying to harm the president's support team. And it's not just, the political supporters, but a lot of what you see is also attacking and aimed at Mrs. Trump as well, like the Stormy Daniels stuff. Americans, we know through polls, don't care about it, but I think that there is this drumbeat where they want to just wear them down. That said, you've also, though, got, and as an activist and as a former left-wing community organizer, I look at what the narratives are going to be versus what the facts of the matter are. And with Mr. Cohen, we've already heard from either the attorney's office and other analysts that it's about his business dealings and that he's been looked at for months prior to the very dramatic raid, and it has nothing to do with President Trump. But the Fusion GPS founders a couple weeks ago had an opinion piece in the New York Times laying out what they want the narrative to be, which is, and they admit in it that they have no evidence for this, but they're now pushing this notion that maybe there are with Mr. Cohen a relationship with Mr. Trump and real estate dealings internationally where there's money laundering and where there's assisting of criminal elements. And even in the piece, they admit that there's, again, no evidence to this, but it's very similar to the dossier gossip and rumor and the maneuvering and the pushing of that. So it's almost as though the Cohen investigation provides another opportunity for the left to make things up, to run a narrative through the media, to continue to try to hammer at the Trumps, regardless of its veracity.
Yeah, no, there's an obsession all over most channels with whether or not Michael Cohen's going to flip. And we're going to continue to talk about that. Tammy, thank you very much. Good to see you tonight.
Sure.
So here now to weigh in with his opinion on all of this, Judge Andrew Napolitano, Fox News senior judicial analyst and New York Times best-selling author. Judge